Hi there, I'm Rod Bergeron and welcome back to another quick and easy watercolor painting. Today we're going to do, something a little bit more experimental. We're going to wet our whole page. I think if you think of all your work that you're doing, whether you're watching YouTube videos with me or you're in a class or whatever, I think if you think of it all as experiments, you'll have more fun with it. This is a flat watercolor brush, and this is just some Payne's Gray right out of the tube. And we're going to make a hill sort of coming down into a valley sort of thing like this. We're going to take a little bit more of this. And just sort of make this coming across the fields like this. All right, that's not too bad. So we're going to set that aside. I'm going to go back to this flat brush and just get a little bit more water on it. And I want this to bleed. And I want there to be some bloom sort of up here. So I'm just going to touch this onto, it onto that and see if I can't get that to bloom up a little bit and, maybe make some trees for us. Now, across here, let's see if we can't tap. So just tapping the brush onto the page to add a little bit more water in there to get some of this to move a little bit further for us. So again, I'm not necessarily touching that Payne's Gray that I put on there. I'm touching the page and I'm just touching the brush onto the wet area. All right, so let's introduce another color into this. I got this is a number 4 watercolor brush, and I'm picking up some sienna here, and I'm going to add some sienna into some of these places like that. Just let that bloom, see what happens here. And that's quite the reaction. You don't usually get that reaction from adding sienna in there, but see what happens. And then I'm going to get a little bit of, this is sort of a very browny red. I'm going to add this in. You can see I'm not stroking that on there. I'm just touching it and letting it go to wherever it is it's going to go. I don't usually add any blue to this, but something's telling me that I should, maybe just touch a little bit of blue into this in some spots. So I'm going to do that. So I'm painting very intuitively. I'm just looking at the colors that are on there and just letting my mind sort of take me to wherever, whatever it is those colors think they should go to. And then we're going to walk away from it. We're just going to let it dry and see what happens to it. So again, think of it as an experiment. Don't think of it as, you're trying to create anything. Just think of it as, I'm intuitively trying to put paint on the page and see what comes out of it. I had the idea of landscape in my head, but that doesn't mean that that's what it has to turn out to be. I have here a watercolor brush that I sharpened a tip on, and I'm just going to go through some of that, and I'm just going to add some lines and see if I can't make some grass or some foliage in the very near foreground. And you see how that's blooming out of there? That's pretty cool looking. That's really looking like a tree line or something back in there. Nice. And again, I'm just gonna scribe a couple of lines in. Can't really see, you know, I can't really even see what those lines are going to be because of how much water and everything is there. And what happens is as you drag that line across, the pigment flows into that line and it'll make it quite darker like that right there. Let's let this dry and we'll come back and have a look at it. Okay, that actually took a really long time for that to dry. The page was super wet, but I'm really pleased with the way this turned out here. And you can see all my little scratch marks that I made across the bottom down here. Look at how that all turned out. That is super cool, eh? So you really never know when you're scratching into that wet paint. You really never know what it's going to turn out to be. So here it is with the little mat on it. And you can see it's got, it's kind of got its own little life, doesn't it? It's a pretty interesting little painting. All right, thanks for watching today. If you're currently a subscriber, I thank you very much. And if you're not currently a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know where you're from. If you could drop me a question or a comment, I really appreciate it. Thanks again. I love the way this little field turned out right here. See that? Like, no work, and you end up with this little light colored field and all this tree line coming down this hill. I actually like this one. I might sign it. Yeah, put my little RB right there. Thanks for watching. See you again next time.